What if I told you that your personality, those anxieties you be experiencing, and that role that you play with your friends and family, right? What if I told you that that could be changed? That was a story that you wrote a really long time ago. Well, today I'm handing you the pen and we're going to the back of your mind in the writer's room and we are going to rewrite that story. Well, not we, I'm guiding you and you're going to rewrite that story. Here you go. Quick side note, I share from my own experience of my life journey thus far. So I am not a professional. If you need professional help, go and get that because you are worthy of that. My goal is to offer you a perspective that helps guide you to a life of more peace and fulfillment. Hello, my loves. Welcome to Living Intentional. I'm your host, Goddess Day, and this is a space where we move from being passive characters to the main character of our story. We can only do that by rewriting a story that we created in the first place. Now, let's get started with three main questions I want you to think about. Who are you? Are you happy? And what character do you play in your story? I'm going to give you 3 seconds to think about that. Now, if you're a person that's possibly hot tempered, no patience, and all of the above, this is for you as well. Now, whatever your answers were, just know that it defines your character, your limits, and your worth. This narrates all of that. In the past, if you would have asked me what my story was or my title, I would have told you the lesser than leader. Let me explain. So, I am the oldest out of 4 daughters. Yeah, all girls. And, I played the role of the second mom. I played the role of holding it down, being the leader. Man, if you looked at me, you would think, oh yeah, she got it all together. I even had some people say, like, oh man, I felt like you were from the Huxtable family. Ha! Far from it. Now, my parents weren't villains, but I cannot tell you that they were the good guys either. So when you have someone just yelling at you and talking down to you, and you don't just think, oh, well, maybe they're having a bad day. No, you start writing a certain story that you are lesser than. So, like I said, on the outside, I was the leader, well put together, holding down the fort, got everything like under control, right? And that was true, but in the inside, in that internal story, I was just lesser than any and everybody I knew. And that really pretty much carried out through my friendships, my relationships, work, all of that. Being a leader and transitioning that, excuse me, it's like I can't talk. Transitioning that into being a supervisor, being well put together, putting that all out there. But then in the background, having certain leaders talk down to me and make me feel lesser than. It just really transferred in different aspects of my life at that point. And going back to my parents, they, like I said, they weren't the villains, but they were not handing me a script of empowerment either. And with that being said, when you think of parents, you think of them as people that's supposed to love you, uplift you, encourage you. And I know that a lot of us are not perfect, and we aren't meant to be perfect. This whole life, this is just a learning experience, a ball of just learning. And it's up to us to meet ourselves where we need to, bridge that gap. But I'm not going to go into being preachy and ranting. I'm going to move on from that. Maybe your story isn't the lesser than leader. Maybe you're that not so good enough overachiever. Maybe you're the people pleaser. Maybe you're the person that feels like you have to wield your sword or your iron hammer to get people to listen to you. Just know that that story is a story that you've written a long time ago for a reason. And this was just a way to protect you. Like, don't blame yourself for it. It is what it is. It was just your way of making sense of the world. We often make the mistake of looking at our past and thinking that it writes our future when that is not the case. You are not an NPC character. You're a person that's real that can choose what happens tomorrow as far as how you show up. Just know that your past isn't this final painted picture that you just have to keep going on with. It can be repainted. You could change the lines. Actually, your life is a blank canvas. So, whatever you paint is the picture that you go with. How you feel about yourself is not a fixed state. That can always be changed. Emotions change, and so does the weather, right? If you allow old criticism, you will paint fear. If you allow self compassion, bravery, and new evidence, you will paint courage and create a new story. So I'm sure you'll ask, like, how do I make this new character? What do I do about this? How do I even know what that look like? Let me let you in on a secret. You know the person or the people that you admire that are just confident, powerful, calm, resilient. You know these are different aspects of you, right? And you admire them, and this is something that you have within, and you just have to bring it to life. And that brave person that you admire, yeah, that brave person can be you if you audition for the part. You can just be that person. We are brilliant actors. Brilliant actors. It makes me think about this book that I read called Bustin' Loose in a Money Game. They talk about how when we live life, we are playing a role. When you look at movies, where you think it comes from, you know? Excuse me. When you go into a restaurant, everyone plays their role. You have the cashier, you got the waiter, you got the waitress, you got the scenery. The scene is already set for you. All you have to do is play your role as the customer. Now, however good the waiter or waitress is, how they treat you, and all that stuff, the experience is up to you to decide on like how well you're gonna tip them. But you, you got the ability to think about what type of experience you want to have. And if it doesn't fit your narrative, what do? You leave. You leave. You leave because that's something you can change and go find a place where you can go and spend your money and enjoy your experience. So choose the role you want to play. Be authentic. Be yourself. I mean, even Michael Jackson was himself, and he's one of the most powerful people in the world. Well, I'll say was one of the most powerful people in the world. The king of pop. He was authentic and he wasn't following the leader either. Now, for your intentional action this week, I want you to be the script doctor. And what I mean by that is that I want you to diagnose and see where you need the change. So, we're doing that in 3 steps. 1 is to identify. Identify where you need that change in your story. When you feel that moment of wanting to people please, or you just want to keep repeating that same old story, identify it and realize, okay, it's like that's the people pleaser, or oh, that's where you possibly feel lesser than, or etc. And then after that, step 2 is to rewrite that. I want you to affirm to who you are. This changes the story in which you are living. I want you to ask this question. If I were this person I admire, let's say Brandon Carter, if I was Brandon Carter, what would I do right now? Then think about what he would do, what your action would be, and how you would move forward. What's your new line? And if you don't get it right the first time, that's okay. Don't beat yourself up. Just keep it in mind for the next time. And then 3, allow. Allow yourself to make this change moving forward. You allow it by making a small change and feeling that feeling of feeling elevated and liberated by making that change and being that new person, that confident person that you admire. And once you've done that, celebrate that win, smile, be happy, take a moment and just give yourself that joy. Be liberated. Know that you're on the right path. I've come to share all these things because I am on this life journey with you guys, and this is where I started. So the things that I have shared with you, the fact that you take those 3 steps, these are things that you do daily. It don't stop. You gotta create the change and be consistent about it. It's just like when you choose your significant other. You choose them and you make that same decision daily. It's the commitment, and it's committing to yourself. If this video inspired you, definitely please like and subscribe for more. And welcome to the family. If this absolutely resonated with you, please put in the comments below that I am claiming my energy today and watch things shift. I'll see you next time. Stay intentional.